down in Leamington. It's mid-November. We're actually down here on the Advanced British Cod Championships. We've got nearly 200 anglers come down here, fishing off 25 charter boats that have come all the way from Poole, and a couple of guys from Portsmouth there. They've come from all across the south coast. It's a really big event. You've got £3 grand in cash up for grabs. There's £1,000 worth of chart plot of fish finder that's been donated by Advanced. It's just a fantastic competition. Now the thing is, for the last 2 weeks, it's been fishing really well down here. There's been cod to £28 caught, there's been 26 pounders, 24 pounders, some big double figure bass. It's really absolutely on fire down here. Now yesterday was the first day. It was blowing a gale, chucking it down with rain. None of the boats could get out around the back of the Isle of Wight, off the famous Needles, the most famous cod mark in the country. We all had to fish in the Solent. Now there was still 3 18-pounders caught in the Solent last night, 37 cod in total. But we're really hoping today that we're going to be able to get out there, off the Needles, and catch some 30-pounders today. Skipper of Shogun, Rob Thompson, has fished and sailed the waters around the Isle of Wight since the tender age of 3, gaining experience every step of the way. Rob has undertaken the organisation of this year's event and has kindly agreed to ferry me around for the day to get amongst the action. Well, check this out. Been fishing for about 3/4 of an hour now. We got the call that someone had caught a decent fish on. We've got up here, and this chap over here on Private Venture has got a 24.5 cod. That's an absolutely cracking fish for the Solent, and that's winning by miles today at the moment. Well, here's a happy bunny, and he's welling with a shout of £1 grand in his hand tonight at the weigh-in. Let's hope there's plenty more of them to come today. It's early days yet, anything can happen. The British Cod Championships started some 18 years ago as the Needles Cod competition and has since grown to become the UK's premier open boat competition of its type. There are prizes for the largest cod caught each day, but the overall champion is the angler who catches the largest number over the 2 days. Unfortunately, all the boats have been restricted to fishing the Solent again today due to the high swells out at sea. But given yesterday's promising results, there's still a great chance of a big cod. Well, we've put the anchor down now. We're going to have a fish for a couple of hours. We've got the best bit of the tide to fish now. We're just about an hour before slack water. As the tide dies away, you can see it here, it's actually ripping through, the weed's still running through, but as the tide dies away, the weed will die with it and the cod should come on the feed. That's generally the time if you're going to catch them, that's the time you're going to get them. So we're going to give it a couple of hours fishing, and then we'll get back to see what the other boats are caught. There's been some more cod caught already, which is good news. So, pretty good event so far, lots of nice big fish. We're not actually fishing the competition, we're like the press boat for the day. We've been zipping around, filming, and I've been taking pictures of the guys holding up their fish and some action shots for the magazine. When I was out yesterday as well, we didn't fish yesterday, we just literally scooted around the boats taking photographs. I'll be running a feature, probably in the January issue of Boat Fishing Monthly magazine that I edit, about the championships. We've got 2 hours to kill now, and it's the best 2 hours of the tide, so you know, we've put some rods down, hopefully going to try and catch a fish on the boat. So for you guys, so it's all hands to the deck, and let's try and catch a fish, shall we? There's varying methods that we use now. We'll have a look through some. We've got a local lad handy on board with us, lives on the Isle of Wight, and he knows his onions, trust me, when it comes to cod fishing. And we'll have a little talk to him about the rigs that he uses and the baits that he uses and why. You've been fishing around here for all your life, haven't you?
Yeah.
Live on the island, on the Isle of Wight, and you've had 2 30-pound cod.
Yeah, over the past sort of 15 years. 15
years, I mean, that's really good going, isn't it? But I mean, I noticed when we got on the boat this morning, you got your rigs out, and they're completely different to the rigs that I'm used to using down here.
Right.
I'm used to using panel rigs, things like this, but if we have a quick look at this, I mean, if there's any carp anglers out there watching this, I mean, that's shrink tube, heat shrink tube, different sizes. Just run me through this. What's it all about? I mean, I noticed it's not a panel rig as such. It's almost like
it's basically a
spaced out wishbone.
It's basically a running ledger.
Right.
On 80-pound mono, but this is actually fluorocarbon, but it doesn't really matter.
No.
And then a sort of third of the way, or a quarter of the way down, we have one of these like crimp swivels.
Pretty nifty, aren't they? So it's basically a crimp with a swivel.
Yeah, so
built in.
So before you'd have to use a 3-way swivel,
right,
which wasn't as effective. It was bulkier and whatever.
And you've got more knots, more weak points, haven't you?
Yeah, exactly.
So well, we've got some nice baits here. You've got one that you've already prepared. We've got a peeled cuttle. We've got half a cuttle and a whole squid. Now these two whipped up together, back to back, like that, forms this sausage here. Absolutely, as you can see, absolutely full of ink, full of juice, full of scent. It's got to catch cod.
Well, this is a cuttle and squid wrap.
Right.
Which we've wrapped into like a tube.
Like sausage shape.
Just to sort of deter the amount of small stuff pecking away at your baits all the time.
Yeah, I mean, dogfish is going to it's going to take them a while to get through all that elastic.
When they're nibbling it, we don't actually mind because of the fact they're doing a nibbling it, they're sending bits down the tide, but it's attracting other fish anyway. But they don't get hooked, so it's quite good.
Right. So, come on, how'd you bait one of these up then?
Right. And take some bait elastic.
Oh, I see. You actually whip it.
And then just work your way all the way up to the top of the bait, which is hard to hold on this particular one. And just really bind it up loads and loads of times.
Right.
Because the action of the elastic is always squeezing the bait.
Yeah.
So the whole time it's down there, it's just squeezing out more and more juice, which is an added benefit of the elastic again.
That makes sense.
And then basically that's really well wrapped up. So I'll just take this is an 8-0 wide gape, and I'll just take that and find a firm bit on the cuttlefish side and just put it up round like that. And take some bait elastic.
Oh, I see. You actually whip it
whip it to it. So the hook is absolutely really poised for any
and it's outside
fish,
the bait.
yeah.
Pretty much.
Concentrate the elastic
around the eye.
Heavily on the eye, because to stop it folding over in the bait, which is a possibility if you don't get it bound up hard enough.
Yeah.
And then just work your way all the way up to the top of the bait and just really bind it up loads and loads of times. And that should hang absolutely perfect like that.
Spot on.
And on the other hook, you can either have a smaller bait, you could just take a single squid and use that on there. You know, you could just
hook it through the tip.
Hook it through the tip, literally, and have it flowing in a tide, which is a bit risky if there's loads of dogfish, but sometimes that pays the dividends. Yeah. You know, where it looks so natural.
Excellent.
Or just put a single cuttlefish on. If I was to put a single cuttlefish on, I probably wouldn't bother peeling it, and I would just hook it once and just leave it like that, so it's aerodynamic in the tide. Or I could use the bait elastic and bait it up into a ball and do the same thing with that. So.
Well, it looks pretty good to me, mate. I mean, what self-respecting cod wouldn't want to come along amongst that? Well, thanks for that, Andy. I think I might go and put that on my rod.
I think I'm going to wash my hands.